Kia ora team, Noel Willoff here, host of the Beyond the Surface podcast. Thanks so much for tuning into today's episode. But before we get started, I've noticed that over 93% of you watching on YouTube do not subscribe. So if you are enjoying the content and these conversations, please make sure you go hit subscribe on the button below. Also, before we get started, please go check out our official sponsor of the podcast, Moana Road. They've got a whole range of awesome products available at the website. So go check them out in the link in the description below to help us reach more of the guests on that you love. Jules, MC Crafty, welcome to the pod.
Thank you very much for having me.
Bro, thanks so much for jumping on. And, we've got quite a few mutual mates. We've got Cam, we've got Will, and you're like one of like New Zealand's like top MCs, like drum and bass MCs. And I had the privilege of like sneaking into a show in Wellington, thanks to Will McLean, who sussed us some free tickets, I think, from your generosity. I think it was Goddard.
Yeah.
And first time ever seeing you live, bro. And it was crazy. It was fucking sick.
A lot of energy, eh?
Yeah, bro. Lots of energy. But like, I think that's the way to summarize it. Lots of energy. But I thought maybe we start the podcast around like, what makes a good MC, bro?
Okay, nice, good question. I would just want to at the start of this conversation, I think like one of my big things with MCing all my performances is that I'm really aware that the art form started in the United Kingdom or like United Kingdom. It's kind of comes from another country overseas, and probably multiple countries contributed to it. But I always find I consider myself an MC, a performer. Mm-hmm. I know what I do on stage is quite special, but it's probably nothing like the original Dons who can rap really fast, have how do I say that? It's like, what makes a great MC is lyrics, not speaking over the drops is always a big important one. Energy. What makes me a great MC? I will be the silliest person on stage so that everyone else can enjoy their time. So I find my goal when I perform is to make the DJ look as cool as possible, and everyone understands that what he's doing or what she is doing should be valued and revered. And also from the other side is like, I try to enjoy it and so much that it's infectious and that the crowd sees that they can enjoy it as much as I feel like if I'm being a big silly bugger on stage, everyone else can loosen up and like not take themselves so seriously and dance. And a huge part of my performance is dancing, I would say, and rapping, etc. It's just a funny question because like I've played with international artists who've come over and had really good feedback, and I've played in front of big crowds and I've contributed to the energy and the vibe of it. But I'm always so insecure about the MC thing because like there's just so much talent outside and I'm sort of doing my interpretation of this music that I love so much, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%, bro. Well, you're bloody talented, like in your own right, and I think what you picked up earlier, it's like that sort of like playfulness is what sort of comes out, and it totally is that because you're up there just fucking having the time of your life, and if you're watching, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking dance. I don't give a shit either. Yeah. I guess for people that don't know anything about drum and bass, bro, like what even is an MC, like a drum and bass MC?
Yeah, I guess I get it. It depends what kind of style you are. Like I guess my style is a host MC. So my goal is to increase the energy and vibe of the show, I suppose. So it's just introducing songs, timing the drop. There's people react to like speaking to the people with energy in a way and kind of saying inspiring things or fun things and getting everyone into a sort of group think or like, you've
like a collective.
Collective mind. It's all, creating the hive mind experience. I think you can have drum and bass or a set without an MC is fine. Like a lot of people can enjoy it, but I think like much like a preacher at church or something, you know, when you see those videos online of like some preacher getting the crowd all
hallelujah.
Yeah, getting the crowd all worked up on the gospel.
Yeah.
But except the gospel is dirty, stinking drum and bass. So it's just I in the host role I would do that, and then there's artists who write lyrics and are creating songs, working with producers to create tracks. And then there's double time rapping, people who rap really, really fast, like fast, particularly over jump up. There's other MCs who are chilled. I mean, I think it's just a part, from my understanding, MCs come from sort of sound system culture, which I'm not an expert in, but sound system culture essentially kind of came from Jamaica and over and into the UK. It was like kind of a blend of those two musics, and people would set up at a very base level, would set up their speakers on either side of the field, and they would play tracks at each other.
True.
And then there'd be an MC kind of hyping everyone up. Like, this is really, I really don't want to butcher the thing, but there's this guy called David Rodigan.
Yeah.
You should check him out. He's this old dude. He is the man. He's like this 80, he must be 80 or something now. And he was 70 or 80, and you have to look at him, but he's just this old white guy who kind of went to Jamaica and got really into the music. And he's not the only original MC at all, but he's just a great example of that style, basically. And then it's kind of morphed into like, one of the hard things about I think like the MC thing to understand, or for me on the hosting side of it, is that you have to be there live to really understand like how that person works. Because if you listen to a live recording of me, probably at that Goddard show, you'd be like, why is this guy screaming all the time over the track? And it wouldn't sound level. But if you're at the show and you feel and you see everyone working together and dancing and grooving, and then you see actually me moving and you can feel it all, like you understand, like that's where it fits. I don't know. I really love performing. That's all I know. I love drum and bass. I love dancing to it. Like, I wouldn't consider myself an expert on the music or the culture as a whole. I don't know how to explain this. This is, it's like obviously a bit of an insecurity, or like, not an insecurity. It's just, I really love to do it overseas. I just have no idea how it will go, or what it would look like for me to be over in the place where it came from. I think that's kind of why I'm like, I don't know. It's funny.
Have you performed overseas yet, bro?
Played in Australia.
Cool.
So I played with Goddard in Sydney, and Sigma flew me over this time last year to play in Melbourne, which was really cool, and it worked there. Yeah, it worked really well. So it was good, and I also snuck onto a set at Boomtown in like a small little side stage with one of my friends. So I have, but not. I'd like to do it further.
And like, where did your passion for, I guess, sort of like performing come from, bro? Because grew up in Gizzy, like competitive surfer growing up. What sort of young fella were you growing up in Gizzy? Like, what was your childhood like?
So performing, I've probably just always been a bit of a show off.
You seem like one of those kids that could do like backflips and shit.
Yeah, I don't know what I was like. The surfing, like at school, I really didn't do any theatre or drama or anything. I was always one speech. I've got the year 13 speech cup. and the Year 8 speech cup.
Nice.
Always did speeches. That was fun.
Do you remember what they were on? Got any?
One of them was in Year 8. I did like pickup lines.
Nice.
So it's like, I was like, "Are you Jamaican? Because Jamaican be crazy, man." Or, "Baby, you're a 9.999. You'd be a perfect 10 if you were with me." Yeah.
He still uses them today, eh?
Nah, fuck. Not even a chance. Nothing kind of contributed to the drum and bass, apart from, I guess, Rhythm and Vines was in my backyard. So since I was 14, I was sneaking in there and I was seeing that music, and drum and bass, bass music had always been a part of what we all listened to, kind of trap, etc. It's kind of a long story. Essentially, me and my friend got asked to host this night one day at university, and I got on the mic and I was hyping everyone up, and the DJ just turned my mic off because it just sounded terrible because I didn't know what I was doing and I was 19, but I was like, that was cool. Like, I don't know what I was doing there. Maybe I should try follow that. Maybe if I learned to rap or continue down that path. And that was kind of what sparked it just at university. And I came home one year, and one of my best mates, Tom Witters, he'd been playing down in Dunedin. He was he was actually really talented and really good at DJing. I at this point was just sort of like showing off, and he's the nicest guy on the planet. And he'd never say no. And at this one time, I just asked him, so, "Oh, bro, can I MC?" Because he finally got a slot at Rhythm when I was like 20. I was like, "Oh, could I MC with you, bro?" And I think he's too nice to say no. So I jumped up with him and played with him. And that was kind of, that moment was like, okay, this is what I want to do. Like playing at Rhythm, and like just been following it ever since, I suppose. Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible, bro. And how many, because you've done like main stage RnV, which is wild, dude. It's like, how many people? 30,000?
No, I mean, it was, we could call it 30,000 at the whole festival, but I'd say it was like 15,000 people at the main stage at that time.
They say 30,000.
Yeah. 15,000. So that was with Tom Witters as well.
Man.
Witters, which was, I literally sat in that field with him on a winter's day 3 years before that, and we were chopping the vines for a job after uni. And I remember we were listening to the golden era of hip hop, Volume 4 by Crafty Cuts, for this like 2-month period, and we're pruning the grapes with each other, and because we kind of had work there in some shape or form for a few years, and then like 3 years later we were playing on the main stage, which was pretty, like, I mean, he put up all the lights there, like festoons, like he was in lighting. I moved a ton of, like, my first year I think I was moving portaloos and just it was such a buzzy thing to be having worked on it and then getting the opportunity to play. Thank you, COVID, I'd say, because an international couldn't come through because of COVID, and we were at just right place, right time. Preparation meets opportunity kind of situation.
Far out. You're probably like one of the only acts at RnV who's done that. Like from working on the portaloos.
I'd say so. Yeah,
being on the main stage.
Yeah.
Like, who else has done that?
Oh, probably Hamish and Kyle, like the guys who started the festival. They would, on the very first years, would have played the main stage. I don't know if any other staff members have played. Like other staff members have definitely played the festival, but they probably haven't closed the main stage, which is pretty cool.
What's that feeling like, bro? Like looking out there and there's 30,000 people staring back at you.
15,000. Honestly, felt like exactly where I belonged, or where we belonged at that point in time. Our families were on the stage left. Our best mates were in the crowd. Front left was where everyone from Gizzy always hung out.
Cool.
So stage right for production people, but front left for
Front
the
left.
crowd.
Yeah.
I just remember like looking down to the right, just seeing so many of my friends from high school, and everyone was so happy for us. And then all of our friends who we'd met through at university. Tom's dad was actually in the crowd, like on the barrier, and then just thousands of kids in front of us. And the production level was something you could never dream of, like feeling the sound of the speakers and the lighting rig. Shout outs to Harry who did our lighting there. Just randomly, he did such an amazing show. He'd never even met us. I think he just I just remember getting off stage and meeting him and be like, who did that? Because he had all the visuals and like our logos and stuff like working, and it was live streamed. It was dream, like a dream, like
That's incredible, bro. That's amazing, eh? And this is the first time that we've met, which is awesome. And it's cool to like bridge the connection when we've got so many mutual mates. But you strike me as like the sort of individual that is like a really big opportunist. Like you put yourself out there, you make connections, you make networks, and you just want to see the sort of best of people and you want to see them succeed. And then naturally, like, you know, opportunities flow through to you. So, how do you, as like a young creative, how do you sort of like take opportunities as they come or find opportunities through networks?
It's funny you say that, the networking thing. I think I said this in the video I was writing about like turning 30, and I was like kind of thinking about it, but I've never ever understood the term networking. Like I always just loved people, right? Seeing people do their best, like bigging up people, that just comes so naturally. To be honest, I give all my aroha, like it flows freely through me. It's really easy to like for me to find the good in people and like be excited for them. My skills, one of my best skills is people. Like it just comes really naturally to like talk and listen and pick up on how someone's feeling, or especially within a group dynamic. I love seeing people work together, and I think probably a few of my I just love coming into a group of people and just sort of like slowly working everyone into like being mates, or like kind of getting together. Like even my flats, like I get off on like when I join a new flat and like slowly like just, I don't even really know how to describe it, but I like to leave a place with everyone getting along. Not all the time, but I find that dynamic really fun, and it comes really naturally. The thing, you're right, like the opportunities that have come to me have I just follow my passion, follow my nose, and try to do my best. And there's some crazy shit has happened really when I think about it. Yeah, nothing's been planned. I'm hoping I can plan some stuff. I'm not without planning or strategy, but I guess in regards to the people thing, it's very it's never really been premeditated.
No, and like neither should it, eh? Like you don't want someone to be framing relationships as like a output to get somewhere. Relationships come naturally. You can't force.
I think I'm hoping I can leverage some of my networks properly in the future. Like I've been kind of thinking about that a little bit. Like I mean, there's nothing wrong with networking, but I to your point, like I think why things have worked out for me is because it definitely does. I think a big part of growing up in Gizzy really was part of that. Like in Gizzy, you I feel, well, within the group of friends I grew up with, it was like can you swear on this?
Bro, you can swear.
Okay. So it was like you're either a good cunt or you're not. And that's what I care about. If you got a batch or you got money or but you're a dick. I don't care. And even maybe like the surfing thing, kind of contributed to that. Maybe more on the side of. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like people. I like a lot of people, but if I can pick up that the vibes are wrong, I'll just be like, oh, not like it's really easy to, pick that up. I'm not sure. I don't know. Yeah, the Gizzy things. Just shout out Gizzy.
Shout out Gizzy. Shout out Gizzy. Especially with your early shows, bro. Like, how did they sort of come about? Obviously, you got your mate Witters, who has been pretty instrumental. Was it like hard starting off as like an MC? Like, how do you get on those shows, especially with? I think to my question earlier, like for those DJs and artists that you don't have a relationship with, how do you sort of pitch yourself in to get them to trust you to guide their set?
100%. I mean, it's been a bit of a journey. Like one of the big things is that I haven't had any real I literally don't know any MC my age just at the time when I was coming up, maybe like 2-3 years older than me, 3 years younger than me. Now there's a bunch of really cool young dudes doing it. This one guy called MC Skunk who I've just been watching his videos and stuff, and I'm like, man, that guy has been grafting. He's been doing so many shows, and he sounds real sick.
Shout out.
But older than me, there was Tali, Rolex, this guy called MC Rolex, who I saw in Hamilton. He's fantastic. And another guy called Imagine This, I saw when I was 19 in Hamilton, and they were the people I saw doing it, but they were a few years older than me. And then I don't even know, bro. I just would bring a microphone, plug it in, and it wasn't that serious at that age. No, I mean, it's not that serious now, to be fair. I just, wherever I got the opportunity to jump on, and, I've been told no plenty of times. I think one of the most important things in performing, or if you're hosting for a DJ, because their set is important to them. They've thought about it. It's really their artistic. Artistic. I mean,
it's artistic.
It is artistic. Sorry, the chemistry, I think what probably has been my biggest advantage is chemistry with people. And I think really I can tell if a set's going to go good if I talk to the person beforehand and we're chatting and it's good vibes and you're like, oh yeah, sweet. Basically we're just going to have fun. And so that chemistry contributed it to a very low, I'm a green room villain, man. I'm great in a green room. I'll be
green room villain.
You'll be having fun with me in the green room. And even you think if you're from if you're an international artist and you're in your new place, just someone to talk to you and who knows everyone and you can make you feel more comfortable. Or if I'm traveling with a local DJ and we go to a new city and you can make that process comfortable as well. I'm just trying to wherever I got a chance, I jumped on. Lucky enough to have friends who were young promoters and they were promoting shows, so they would be do you want to play? And then you might open for a bigger local artist and then they see you play and they invite you to play. I mean, the cool thing about drum and bass is emceeing is a part of the culture. I do this because I'm just New Zealand drum and bass culture might be different to overseas.
So you really put in a sort of bucket, the NZ.
Bro, I don't. I just I get in my own head about this. Yeah. I really love doing it. I just don't know how it's going to go overseas. The big opportunity I got to play, and probably which took me to another level, was State of Mind, who from New Zealand, but they are massive overseas, and they've been touring for like the last 20 years. But about 4 years ago, I got a call and asked. They said, "Hey, we need a touring MC in New Zealand." Again, shout outs to COVID. They couldn't. They were getting booked left, right, and center because no other there was like a resurgence of drum and bass, and they took me on tour on tour like for like the last 3 or 4 years. So I remember I did Mardi Gras with them, bunch of club shows, Rolling Meadows. That was the next step up, where I got to consistently perform over a few weekends with a high caliber act. Like, they're world class. Yeah. So it was, even though we were playing in New Zealand, I was playing with these guys have definitely shelled across all of Europe, and even America and stuff. Like, they've played everywhere. Like, they are phenomenal DJs and producers. So that was probably the step up. But it was just basically a run of local gigs.
True.
Until someone had told them that they should, if they need an MC, they should look at me.
That's amazing, eh? It's amazing how things sort of like pan out.
Yeah.
And was that the sort of golden COVID era where the rest of the world was sort of locked down, but we were still able? Because I remember going to I think Mardi Gras when we just came out of the lockdown, and the rest of the world was fucking quarantine, and it was just everyone was on the best buzz.
Yeah. I was in a whole Cooney, and that was, I'll never forget going to that show, because we played on the main stage, crowd was gigantic. There must have been, there was a huge crowd, and then
30,000.
Yeah, and then they ship, we walk off stage into the powder keg, and we've got a hotel room right next to the stage, and I was just like, I've made it. I've made it.
Made it, baby.
I made it. Yeah, it was that. Yeah, about that era. That's kind of what happened. And then the first international I properly played with was a guy called Scientific, and that was a case of working at Rhythm. People knew I was emceeing, and I can't remember if it was Hamish or Dylan, but they just called me and they're like, Scientific needs an MC, and I was like, sweet. Well, I'm an MC.
Unreal.
Give me that shot. So took that. Yeah,
that's awesome, bro. It's pretty amazing how those things sort of pan out.
Yeah.
And what else I was also keen to sort of touch on is especially for these DJs, and I guess the sort of drum and bass culture, what is it like actually touring? How do you keep your energy and your sanity? Are you having massive sins most nights?
Nah, yeah.
How do you sort of look after your Wairua?
Yeah, 100%. It's a huge part. I honestly, my hardest battles with my health or mental health or whatnot is actually when I'm not playing a bunch of shows, because when I'm playing shows, I just feel amazing. But on tours, I suppose, just going to sleep as much as you can. I haven't done the most shows I've done was this Goddard tour, the last one. We did 4 shows in a row, and that was
crazy.
That was real heavy. And they'd done 5 shows in Australia the week before. It was exhausting. But I always stretch before my shows, because the physical thing is actually really important, and I think that comes from surfing as well.
True.
Warm up before you train. I treat it like I'm going to perform and I need to work out. So everyone always laughs at me when I do my yoga in the green room, but I'm I'm not going to pull anything. I don't want to pull Batty. And then the big one with the touring is just the sleep. While you're on, because I haven't done extended like a month of touring, right? I imagine that's when it would get like pretty full on.
Yeah.
Even the four shows in a row is pretty crazy. But while you're on the tour, as long as you're like eating pretty well, trying to get some sleep, sort of, I would say most people might strategically pick a night where they're really gonna, if they're gonna push the boat out, they're gonna send. Like I did that Goddard tour completely sober, but that was mainly because I'd just been in Europe, like having a lot of fun going to festivals, and I was like, look, I really want to take this seriously. I really wanted that to go really well. And I just figured at that point that drinking and wasn't gonna help me do my best thing. But actually it's like you play during the tour, you're surrounded by people who are passionate about the same thing. You're all working towards the goal of doing the show. You all experience this high of playing in front of people, or the low of playing in front of no one. But you're experiencing it together. And even though you have to get up early the next morning and you might be tired or people might be hung up, you've got this sort of schedule and common goal, and it's epic. And then you got people, if you play really well, and people will be like, man, that was, when someone gives you a compliment after the show, you're like, that feeds you, and you're like, I feel like, man. So I in my experience on the short tours, like that's all great. It's afterwards when you come down from sort of reaching, like I really feel like I belong on stage. Like
watching you, bro, it looks like you're just so comfortable.
It feels beyond, like obviously it feels kind of beyond ego sometimes for me. Like obviously there's like ego involved with the performance and like what you're trying to do, but often I just like, this feels so right. Like, almost like reaching self-actualization at that moment in time when it's going good. But afterwards, like going home and you're just like,
like they call it like the post-show blues. And
it's so real. Like the adrenaline dump, everyone around you, common goal, feel like a superstar, and then you're back home, just like, I gotta go back to work, or was that even real? When's the next time I'm gonna do that? Like after that Goddard show, I was almost like angry because I love the show, but when I got home that week, because I'd made a conscious effort to sort of stay sober for this thing, and the come down from it was just as bad, like maybe not just as bad as any other come down, but it was real. It was real, and I was like, man, it would have been worse if I had been on it, but
for sure.
But it was really, I was like, wow, like physically exhausted, mentally drained, and like just it really probably lasted about a week, like the post-show blues, I suppose. So that's that. And in combating that, it's like exercising. So I do a lot of kettlebells at home, not a lot, but I've been doing kettlebells. I've been doing physio on my knee at the moment, trying to and I got a coach, a guy, knees over toes. No, climb that hill. That's what his Instagram is. I'm so sorry, bro. I forgot your name right on this moment. But he's been really helpful. So having like a coach with a program.
Man.
And then food, I just try to eat whole. Like when I'm at home, I've eaten so much fucking McDonald's while I've been down here. I'm over it. But so I'll try, basically when I come off like a big moment, it's like try to go immediately back to like eating well, exercising, moving your body, and then kind of bit of try do meditation. I
That's
go
cool,
through
bro.
I go through periods. Like basically, if I do it in a row, I'll feel good. But sometimes it's just like that. But yeah, just sort of trying to tell yourself like you've just extended a lot of energy. Like
re-baseline.
Re-baseline, like, and try be easy on yourself afterwards. Like, yeah, that's tough.
Because it's interesting, very, very similar for like many athletes where there's like this crazy end goal they've got in mind that it might be like a marathon or like a world championship or like a tournament. You complete that and then like life just carries on. And it's like you've been so fixated on this moment and these moments and then it's, finding, I don't know, contentment in like that sort of nuance.
Yeah, and like I guess like people talk about how like the manifesting of goals, and you're thinking about it all the time. Or like, what happens when the manifestation comes true, or you like you get there and you're like, well, yeah. So it's definitely the best way to. It's not quite the Olympics, but a drum and bass show. But yeah, it's like the post show blues it's so real. It's like this thing that was so tangible and you had it in your hands. Like I was holding it there, and then it's like you take your eyes off the pot of gold and it just disappears and you're back in your room being like, what happened? Like, is that real?
How am I back in my flat? Like, doing dishes.
100%.
So is there like you mentioned for that Goddard tour, like sort of you're doing like no drinking. Is there like is there like an optimal amount of beers for like the peak performance? Or like, do you prefer to do those shows sober?
So
what's the peak Mel?
I mean, a lot of people don't believe me, but like I like performing sober. Like I do like to party. Like I'm in the festival industry, or like I have liked to, but I like to do it when I've done work. Like obviously, it's still a party environment. I mean, I guess optimal is like less than 2 beers. Like you don't be drunk when you're trying to rap. Basically, sloppy, don't. I don't get. I get nervous, but I don't get performance anxiety in the way that I need beers to like. If someone's like, hey, you can either play in front of these 1,000 people and like but you're not allowed to have beers, or like play in front, like I'd be like, sweet, no beers. Like I don't need it to like. I'll be like, I will do anything you tell me to like get on that stage and let me play. Like I don't care what the conditions are. Like that's what it is for me. Like I just want to be there. So, but it's a funny one. The main one is just like if I drink too many beers, I can't rap properly. I can barely rap as it is, or like I can rap, but it's probably, like I said, dancing and hype and like vibes is like my go-to, and I always want to have that tool in my that. So yeah, I'd say like 2 beers, but I mean, I don't know.
2 beers, the optimal.
Everyone's Eddie. There's a bit of, you do gain a little bit of confidence, I suppose. But I mean, I've done the range, and I'd say less than 2 beers is probably good. Like
nice. Yeah, you don't want to push the boats out too much. That'd be pretty rough.
No one's gonna believe me. They're just like,
That's the thing, you like watching you. It's almost, it's not like you're acting drunk or anything. Like you're so in the moment, but like the energy that you have, I reckon a lot of people look at that and say you can't get that energy without some sort of substance.
Yeah, they can't. I mean? Yeah. And I mean, I'm not.
Which is probably like a fault of like alcohol culture that we have. That you look at someone like you doing that and it's like, oh, you must be.
I mean, I've also done it on all of that as well. Like so, like not performing, but people. Yeah, I'm not. I don't know. Like my whole family dances crazy. I really, really, really love drum and bass to the point of like it is not an act how much I like moving to that music. It just does something to me, and I want to spread that when I play. So, but yeah, I understand that it would. I mean, it's just blanket assume that I'd be off my head to be putting myself in that position and doing that silly stuff. Like, but I don't know. It's part of it. It's part of the frenzy, I suppose. Like, I mean, you are pretty. Adrenaline's pretty full on experience as well.
Yeah, for sure. It's like a drug.
Yeah.
Get the EpiPens out.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm not. I don't know how to explain. Like, I'm not against my like stunts or like drug use, etc. Like, I'm not anti it or anything. Definitely not anti it, as everyone's gonna say. But I'm just not sure. It wouldn't be like that's why I'm doing it. Basically,
No, yeah. Nor is it like sounds like too much of a performance enhancer.
Nah, I don't think so.
In the moment when you're performing,
Yeah.
like it's cool to like hear you talk just about drum and bass too, bro. Like you have so much passion and energy for it. And you know, you hear that a lot of people around like hip hop and that, and I haven't really met that many people that have spoken about drum and bass the way that you do. And like, I just want to further unpack that. Like, what has drawn you so deeply into, DnB in New Zealand? What is it that gravitates you towards it?
I would say, I mean, at university at that age, everyone was doing it, so it was really easy to be into it. Being involved in music festivals, putting them on, and it being a big part of it. So it's just that's been my work for the last 10 years. And then I just like the range. Like, you can go from real heavy neuro to liquid, like listening like in the morning tracks. I just feel like something about the BPM, I lose myself in it. Don't get me wrong, I love all music as well. It was just and I think I've found my place to perform over drum and bass there. It is an interesting one because as I get older, I still love it just as much, but
cool.
Not as many people around me have. I guess they've, like my age group is kind of like aging out of like going to raves all the time, and I'm like, man, I just want to play. I just want to keep playing. So yeah, I'm not sure. It's like I started off with just all my friends liking it, and then I think the performing part of it, that's the energy. I don't know. It's just energy. I feel like I've said energy like 1,000 times.
It's the energy, bro. And like, I saw something, I think it was a podcast that you did. You mentioned that your grandfather was like a basketball player for the Czech Republic.
Yeah, nice.
Like
Czechoslovakia before it was before the country split.
True. Do you think there was anything, I guess, from his journey as like an immigrant coming to New Zealand that you've sort of like learned from him?
So he's had a huge influence on my life, even though he passed away quite early. So I was only 4 years old when he passed away. But he left he came with nothing, and he left the world with built a set of flats himself, and like he had a house, and like he was very my mum all throughout growing up be like, this is what your grandfather would think. This is what your grandmother would think. And his story was always really inspiring to me. I kind of laugh because one of my dreams is to like go back and play in Prague, because drum and bass is quite big in Prague in the Czech Republic. But I just don't know if he would approve of me running around to drum and bass. Like, I can imagine he'd be just like, "What is he up to?" But at least he's working hard on it, and I'm not sure. He's sort of had a big influence on my life in the way that his story, like the full story that my mum told me when we were growing up, was like it's pretty inspiring. Like. Yeah, the coming over from another country. I don't even like he must have come over in like the 1960s or something. And during a point of political turmoil in his home country. Like jumped. Oh, I'm gonna butcher the story. I feel like I don't want to butcher, but essentially, like he was playing basketball. I'm gonna fact check this after with Mum, but he was playing basketball for Czechoslovakia, and he went to Italy for a game, and he was like he didn't want to go back because at that point in time, sort of a Russian-supported political group had got into power in. Is it Russia or Soviet Union? Soviet Union supported party had got into power in Czechoslovakia at the time, and a lot of the young educated people were against it, and there'd been a lot of social unrest, and I think he just decided that it wasn't where he wanted to be, and he jumped off it. So he got the opportunity to leave the country because he was playing basketball in Italy, and I believe he just jumped off the train, didn't go home with the team. Spent a year in Italy in some kind of camp, and then got on a boat to New Zealand. And
crazy,
yeah. It's pretty, but yeah, he's really special, man. He built a volleyball club in Auckland called Sparta. So he created a volleyball club in Sparta while running a building business, and this club still runs today.
No way.
And then he became New Zealand's volleyball coach, the New Zealand volleyball coach. And then recently, one of my mum's good friends passed away, and he was involved in the volleyball club. And so we're talking 30 or 40 years ago when my mum was 45 years ago, when my mum was a teenager, and she had this group of friends who were at the Sparta Club. And at this funeral, I had honestly maybe 10 or 15 past grown men, old, people my mum's age, right, come up to me and be like, your grandfather taught me so much, he raised me, gave me so many great qualities, he put so much time into me. I just wanted to say your grandfather was a great man. And this is 20 years ago when he passed away. He passed away 22 years ago. I'm thinking, I'm getting my years so wrong, but it was really that it had such an impact that they would really wanted to tell me, and spread send that on to me, and that was pretty special. The community stuff. I know, mate. So, and the stories I heard from my uncle in Prague when I went over there was pretty much your granddad was a rebel, or he would just always have people around him.
True.
Always, yeah. So I think I may have got some of those qualities of people from him, but I was so young. I don't know. Yeah, he really. He's had a big impact for sure.
It's amazing, eh? It's just a total different time they were growing up in. And I even just think about some of my family as well, coming over from Ireland, migrating over here. I think one of my great granddad's got accused of stealing a sheep, and he got sent over to Australia as a fugitive, and then somehow we just come these ways. But just those, it takes those people and families to really change the trajectory of a household. Eh?
Yeah.
And also the power of just storytelling. You might have some memories of your
100%,
granddad,
yeah.
but through your mum and your parents and these people, his legacy is still alive.
100%, yeah, and it had a serious impact on how I see the world as well.
Bro.
But subconsciously as well. I wouldn't really but yeah, the storytelling. You're so right. What my mum has told me about him, and those people have told me about him, really, and yeah. People remember stories, eh?
100%. 100%.
Crack up.
And keen to just touch on a bit around Department of Arts too, bro.
Cool,
so you started that business with a couple of bros, a couple of mates.
Yeah.
Talk us about the sort of journey into entrepreneurship and starting a business as a young fella.
So Department of Arts was the coolest business on the planet. It still is. So I started that with my two friends, Josh Mutchler and Jack Hawke, and at the time, I'd been working at Rhythm and Vines for 3 or 4 years, and I had invited Jack Hawk up because we'd been friends from surfing, and I knew he was a crazy artist. I remember, everything he did was like, how'd you get that out of your brain?
Like a sort of
he's an
visual
illustrator, really good with textiles, fabrics. He was sign writing at the time, so he knew how to use a laser cutter and lots of tools. And he'd also been studying, like, been playing around with a bit of film and stuff at uni. And then, so I invited him up to help me on Campsite Entertainment to do a bit of creative. And then Josh Mutchler came into my life because my boss at the time didn't have enough time to interview him. So he said, can you interview Josh? And this was for some creative, like doing a bit of painting on Rhythm Bands. And I remember I sat down and he handed me his CV and it was like immaculate. Josh is a phenomenal designer, graphic designer and 3D spatial designer. But I remember he's like handed me this like perfectly curated CV. He had all his skills with like little spray cans on like how many spray cans he had worth of that skill and all this back. Cool. And I was just like laughing because I can barely pick up a paintbrush and I'm kind of deciding on whether he gets the job. And I was just like, yeah, bro, 100%, please come help us. He's a little tagging skater rat turned stylish Massey Wellingtonian student. Kind of came through at the same time as the 121 boys and that swimsuit cafe, etc. And we all met together that year, and the next year I was offered the art department role at Rhythm of Vines, and I said, I want to do it with these guys. So we did it for a year, and I mean, the reason why we started the company was just, we just really wanted to do cool stuff. It essentially started with us being like, let's have a party at Josh's house for the 121 closing, and we decked it out with like all the decorations we could. And then we did one at Jack's Hawk's house where we changed every room into a different theme on no budget. And then we did one up in Auckland while we were kind of preparing for Rhythm and Vines as well. And we got to the end of that year, and I had been in events for long enough to kind of think contracting's the way to go. We've got a good, like, the three of us are great, good, like, we've all got practical skills. We all complement each other really nicely. Like, let's just let you
have a crack.
You have a crack, yeah. And so Department of Arts was started. Big contributor was having this Rhythm and Vines contract, but we took it on as Department of Arts. We didn't take it on as, like, instead of me,
you being just like a contractor,
me managing it and like contracting this, and we were like, no, we want to be the Department of Arts. And I think that really for the three of us to do that at that time was it was smart, but I don't think we realized it was smart. But we put all our eggs in the basket early. Like, we moved up to Auckland right in the middle of COVID, 24, 25. I think we each had like put $500 into the business, and it just built. Like, we would do small little sponsor activations someone would want, and we were just kind of recording a lot of it and making funny stories on Instagram. And the work we delivered was really fun and playful, but also executed on a professional level. And we were really lucky to have a guy called Angus Muir who acted as a bit of a mentor for us. So Angus is just incredible multidisciplinary kind of lighting artist. He's a machine. I couldn't. You could do a whole podcast on how sick Angus Muir is, but he had a workshop that he allowed us to use at points. Jack's boss, his signwriting boss down at Brown Kiwi, allowed us to use their workshop and stuff. So we were just kind of had these ideas, and it was like this fusion of the creating parties and making turned into making stage artwork, merch. It's just I don't know. It's been it was a pretty cool journey, a real cool journey.
What was it like to, I guess, go into business with like a couple of your good mates? Has like, in terms of like a friendship, they're obviously people that you really trust, but how does that like test a friendship when you're in business?
The one thing we always said is 3 people was great because you always have a majority vote. So we were 3 equal partners. That's what we decided from the start, and there was always you have to vote yes or no, and that way, if because there's always going to be a 2 versus 1.
Yeah,
and I think early on we sort of established that that's the way it happens, and it's not the end of the and no hard feelings if you don't get your vote, kind of thing. We also, Josh, I think, was really good at creating clear silos and roles. Like he knew exactly what he was doing: design, fabrication, and then I was kind of this jack of all trades, master of none, filling holes at HR, admin, like team organization. But working with my friends was an honor, man. I miss them so much, and it's not. We've kind of put it on pause because I just went traveling for a year. They've moved to Sydney. We ran a festival last year called In Bloom, only 2-3 months ago with our friends, and that we sold like 1,500 tickets to that, and it was like the best show we've ever done, even on hiatus. The working, just honesty, man. Like we just were so honest with each other. I think. We really respected each other's opinions and honesty. And I think towards the end, on like kind of why we've kind of decided to sort of take a break and go in a new direction, we were looking at like where it was going. Yeah. And it was like, okay, well, we've done this for 5 years. We've kind of achieved. Like for the last 5 years, we've gone to every festival and built, like with all our friends, and built all these crazy things. Like what do we want in the next? Do we want to stay here and do this for the next 5 years in the exact same way? Yeah. And I guess the answer, like between the 3 of us, was no. Like we wanted to do a change, and a few things happened in the back, but it's epic. Like I still talk to those guys every day. Man. Like we got out of it like right before kind of sort of a recession, if no one's going to say it. Like there's pretty harsh economic times at the moment in New Zealand. A lot of people our age group have kind of leaving the country.
There's so many,
Jack and Josh included.
Crazy,
as well. Like they've gone to Sydney. So it was just like this discussion of like, okay, like, are we on the same right here, right now? Are we on the same page, like where we need to go? And it was like, no, we kind of each want something different. And we were so lucky. Like we paid off all our bills, all our debt. Like we got out of our long-term lease. Like we sold everything and had enough money to go traveling and the boys to set up in Sydney.
Awesome. And
the brand's still there. Like we're still Josh has been making a bit of merch on the side. We can start it up whenever we need. Like, and we're in a good place. It's just figuring out what that looks like.
Yeah.
Because the essential, I'm really glad we protected the friendship. Like it didn't, it's like, if I couldn't, I would just hate myself forever if I was angry at those guys for whatever, like financial reason or like something. And I think it was kind of, it was we were probably looking at another few more years of stress, and we weren't sure how that was going to look. So yeah, it was good. Like, I mean, if you're going to work with your friends, like, honesty is a big policy. Sit down and discuss what your values are. We had a really strong set of values. Like, one of them was, my favorite was, like, it's silly not to be serious. So, like, we always promise to take the piss but deliver a serious work. But healthy people make for better teammates. So encouraging each other to, like, go to the gym or eat healthy, or just, like, checking up on each other. What was the other one? LED. So learning every day. That was one we picked up from Angus. Like, whenever he had a problem, he'd just be like, LED, like, learning every day. He was so resilient, Angus. I've never seen that dude have a problem that he doesn't come up with a solution. Like, never complains. He's just like, oh, next solution.
Love those people, eh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So we had this kind of set of values, and then we had our goals, and we really, like, the value stuff sounds wishy-washy, but it's more, it's just kind of like this subtle subconscious thing that happens, like, and the longer you kind of operate, you kind of see those things come to fruition slowly. Like, one of the ones is, like, kind of the type of people we attracted who wanted to work for us. Like, we always had really cool people who, like, fit into our, like, work crew, and I think that was part of because we knew what we kind of knew how we wanted to operate, and as a result, people saw that from the outside, and, like, that was what we attracted, those kinds of people.
Yeah.
That was just, like, that's kind of one example of it. I learned a lot doing that.
Yeah, I like that. The being driven by the values and learning every day. LED, it just reminds me, we recently had Melindy McLean on the podcast. It's actually Cam's cousin.
Yeah.
She's the CEO of Outward Bound.
Yeah.
And her, like, little mantra is Elland, at least I'm not dead.
Yeah.
So when, like, shit's getting tough, she just thinks to herself, Elland, like, at least I'm not dead.
Yeah, 100%.
And just gets through it.
Yeah.
But how big did the business get, bro? Like, when you guys were sort of at your peak?
So we started with, like, $500. So this is a big learning curve, because I don't, like, again, we would never, I think one of the learnings of, like, if we start something up again, like, I think we'll all be sharper on the numbers, because I just think we could have saved 10% on every job and we would have been sweet. But basically, so we started, like, the business was like $500. When we finished our last year, we grossed. I think it was, like, this is including, like, the rent of a building that we subleased and stuff. But we put, like, I think it was like 800 to 900 grand through our business, right?
Sure.
Like, that's how much.
That's mean.
You know how much money we made?
How much? What was net?
10 grand. Net was like 20 grand or something, like, or like, yeah, like, we, like, after we paid our bills and, like, our loans and everything, like, so yeah, net's really important, eh? Net's really important, because I was flabbergasted.
That's still incredible, bro. Like,
bro, I was
900K. That's
up
to $1 million.
Actually, I really kind of weird. We actually once got interviewed by a business review, a real nice dude. Like, he did it, and we, like, told him the number of what we were doing. I'm just laughing now that I've said that out loud. But and then he printed it, like, in the paper in this business article, and we freaked out because we were like, oh, like, we don't want people thinking we're showing off, or, like, we were like, oh, we're totally not about the money or anything, like, or, you know.
Yeah. Just being humble.
Case in point, should have been about the money, man. Like, always, like, it doesn't hurt to be about the money, a bit sharper. But fuck, it's so funny. That's just reminding me of this story. But and then we were really worried that we didn't know what people would think about us saying this number out loud. And it was so funny because we talked to, like, a few older friends who, like, read the article, and they're just like, no, that's what this business journal is about. Like, people just say the numbers, and, like, they were like, that's, if you're in that article, and the people who read that are going to be like it's more interested in your business and potentially like want to invest or like get involved more. Like that's a real positive thing. Yeah. But there was like there was a funny moment on like the, I guess not tall poppy. I don't even know what it is. Kiwis are kind of weird with money. Like when talking about money. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel weird talking about it at the
moment. It's almost as like sort of taboo subject, where but I feel like there's a little bit of like tall poppy in there. It's like you guys didn't want to look like you were doing well.
Yeah, I suppose so. I think we just
we didn't want to come across the wrong way.
Yeah, I think like that. I mean, that's the funny thing, like with me saying like, oh, like we would put like 800,000 through our business, like and it's like, yeah, but we made. I'm not even kidding you. It was like 10 grand. Like, so what? I don't know what the math on that is, but it's like 0.1. Like, is it 1% profit or something like that? Like, I don't know what 10. I can't do the quick math of like 10,000 divided by 800,000. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
this big. Like, so we were attracting that amount of business. Again, like it was more, the whole thing was like, we just started this because we love doing it. And it's like, are we loving it, doing it right now? Like, do we want to, and it was like, no, like, do we see, so what's the future? Like, how do we make sure that we can do this again when we're all ready? And I was like, sweet, we work together to like wrap it up. You guys move to Sydney. I'm going to go traveling. Yeah. And then when the time's right, like they'll have a year or two's experience working the proper business. They'll probably realize they hate working for the man. I'll realize that I miss them dearly and like I actually can't do anything without them because they've got all the skills and I'm just the vibes guy. No, like I'm the glue. You're the glue. I'm the glue, but which is a skill. But yeah, I mean, it was crazy doing that business. It's amazing, cool. Yeah, it's and I love it. Like I think I have no doubt in my mind that we will do something significant and awesome in the future together. It's just it's what it looks like. We're not sure, and that's okay. Yeah, that's totally okay. Yeah,
that's cool, bro. Sounds like a beautiful love story. Yeah, it's a love story, baby.
If you love, let it go, and then if it belongs to you, it'll come back. I suppose
that's the one. So yeah, what's next for you, bro? Any big like dreams, big projects coming up?
I was like, I knew you were gonna ask something like this today, and I was like, bro, honestly, I have no idea at the moment.
Yeah. Same as me, bro.
I got back from traveling after 5 years working on a business. The traveling experience was phenomenal, but I didn't reach enlightenment in any way. I just went around the world and met a lot of really cool people. I danced a lot.
You go solo?
Yeah, I went solo, but I mean, I knew a lot of people. I stayed on a lot of couches. I was always with people. Nice, I didn't. Maybe if I could have done one thing, it was maybe gone like on a bush walk or gone on a week's walk by myself. But I was just surrounded by. I just love people so much. So, and then I came home and I knew I had homegrown to deliver, and we've just delivered that. And obviously, as I said, we're moving the cities. Can't say which city it is yet. But I've just finished that. Like, if I was honest, like what I want to do is I want to perform drum and bass overseas, like go on a tour, international tour with someone, and I just don't know how I'm going to get there quite yet, and and it really scares me thinking about giving potentially up like the time in my professional career, like making headways in like another business or upskilling. Like where am I going to like my energy for the future? Like how much does this passion mean to me? And versus kind of what do I want to do in the future? So kind of having that question up in the air at the moment. I much like having toured, like just finishing a festival build for 3 weeks, like go home, work on my health, like get back to baseline.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I perform as much as possible in the next year, make some music, and no, it sounds silly, but I kind of want to work on my relationship with myself, which sounds like I'm really good with people. I'm not so good like by myself, and at the moment, like I sort of the big part that big hole that the pause of the DOAs left in my is that I don't get to see and work together with people on a purpose every day. So just figuring out like how I can be okay with that and like chill. I'm suck at chilling by myself, bro.
Are you really bad?
Oh,
what happens when you're alone? Like you
just real pretty bad self like doubt and talk, I would say. Like working on it, like, but I don't know, for whatever reason when I'm like not around people, I'm just like quite harsh, like can be quite harsh on myself. Like it's almost like I save all the fun energy and like outward goingness for like other
like performing in that.
Well, yeah, other people. I never feel like I'm putting on an act when I'm with people. It's just like it's so easy to bounce off, and that's where I feel my best. And then I think, like, I can get. And I don't know I don't know. There's a few questions to be answered.
Yes, bro. Always. Yeah. Well, dude, you're bloody talented today, and like I always like to think whenever I'm having those same questions as you, it's like just imagine yourself as an old man. You know what I mean? I always put myself to that. I'm like, what would I be thinking about like my decision right now if I was like 85? What would I be saying to my 26 or like 30-year-old self?
Yeah.
And usually I feel like you can find guidance in that, eh?
100%. Yeah, no, I know I always just follow my nose. Like,
and trust your gut, eh?
Trust the gut, follow the nose for sure. Yeah, that's the bars. Yeah. Have some fun.
Well, yeah, bro. Just want to say a massive thanks for jumping on the podcast. Stoked we could like line this up. This has actually been so much fun. We give a pair of sunnies to each of our guests from our sponsor, Moana Road. So this is for you, brother.
Cheers.
And before we wrap up, we'll do some quick fire questions, finish on a quote. But
I'm going to do the quick fire and the sunnies.
Yeah, bro, man. Rock the... Yeah, fuck, those are good.
It's actually tough, bro. I lost my favorite pair of sunnies in Bali, so I'm good. I'll be wearing these for sure.
There you go, brother. Moana Road. Check them out. But yeah, bro, where can people keep in touch with you and your mate?
Instagram, follow the craft, I would say.
Man.
Yeah, follow _the craft.
Cool. We've got these quick fire questions. What brings you true happiness?
Surfing, drum and bass.
What is the meaning of life?
I'm not sure at the moment.
Is that the official answer?
No, I always say he tangata, he tangata, he tangata. So it is people is people is people.
Man. Advice you wish you knew about when you were younger?
Bro, it's not that deep. Like, just keep going. It's not that deep.
What does legacy mean to you?
Honestly, not a lot. Like, I don't think about my legacy or whatever. Like, I just hopefully make people feel good in the moment, or like, do the best you can in the moment.
If you could change one thing in New Zealand, what would this be?
It would be nice to see more hope for the future. Like a general, I just wish more people had like a hope that things are going to get better, or like that things can get better, or positivity about the future.
Personally, it's not been so Fucking negative, eh?
Huh?
People need to stop being so negative.
Yeah, I mean it's a hard time. It is negative. Yeah, I just feel like we've got like Kiwis are pretty awesome people. We're loved around the world. Like there's reason for it. Very, and what's it good? Ingenuity. Like, always punch above our weights. I love even going overseas. I love meeting Kiwis. So, I just hope we can see our own value in what we might be able to affect, how we might be able to change the future with that value.
And what do you believe is the main thing that's holding back young people in New Zealand?
I mean, I guess just like themselves, like how do I explain it? Like, if you got an idea, like just go for it. Like, I suppose like maybe the fear of judgment or fear of like putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
But I think that just holds back everyone. But yeah, I don't know. I don't like just go if you got something you want to do, go after it. I think, and probably doom scrolling TikTok's not good for you as well.
Fuck, I'm guilty as charged. Mean bro, shot Jules. Really appreciate it, brother. This has been heaps of fun, eh?
Yeah, man.
We'll
good.
finish up with a quote from Thomas Saz. He's a psychiatrist, and it's about what is required to learn. I found this online earlier. I thought it was actually pretty cool. Every act of conscious learning requires the willingness to suffer an injury to one's self-esteem. That is why young children, before they are aware of their own self-importance, learn so easily, and why older persons, especially if vain or important, cannot learn at all. Shot, brother.
Cheers, man.
Thanks,
Thank you
bro.
very much.